Shared sacrifice. Shared sacrifice.
Uh-oh. Is that a code for tax hikes? Amid an awful job market, Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid insisting that wealthy Americans need to pony up to get the country's debt down. The Senate likely to vote on Reid's resolution next week. With 9.2% unemployment, is this any time to be talking about tax hikes, folks? Hi, everybody. I'm Cheryl Casoni, and welcome to Cashin' In. Our Cashin' In crew this week, Wayne Rogers, Jonathan Hoenig, Tracy Burns, John Layfield. Also joining us this week, Democratic strategist Krystal Ball. So welcome to all of you. John Layfield, I'm going to start with you on this one. What would Reid's plan do, do you think, for jobs?
It would do exactly what this Congress has done the last 10 years for jobs. Absolutely zero. These guys have no jobs plan. These guys have no energy plan. These guys have no tax plan. We are the only developed country in the entire world without this. And their only answer is a very politically savvy thing. Go after a populist message. It's what's gone on since Jackson and Hamilton. You go after the rich. You go after the corporate taxes on jets. You go after the oil companies, when in reality, all of that money that Harry Reid is talking about is about $50 billion. That means our deficit annually is still $1.6 trillion. It doesn't even pay the interest on what is occurring annually, but that's their message. Take away from their own failure and put it on the rich guy in the corner office, because that's a great political message.
Well, wait, it may not be the rich guy in the corner office, though. If we're talking about a million and up, a lot of small companies do file S1 corporations here. They're the ones that many say do create jobs. Harry Reid could be maybe making a mistake here.
Well, Harry Reid, when he talks about shared sacrifice, why doesn't the Congress share some of that? You know, Democratic government, Alexis de Tocqueville wrote in 1831, a Democratic government is the only one in which those who vote for the tax can escape the obligation to pay it. Harry Reid is one of those kind of guys. 45% of the people in this country pay no tax. The top 3% in this country pay as much as the other 97%. Those are numbers he leaves out of his convenient way of selling this program. And as like John says, this is a political act. This is a stunt. He's trying to say, oh, tax the rich, soak the rich so that we can pay for that. He's just trying to get votes.
Well, Krystal, John Layfield says here that, look, it's not going to be enough. If you crunch the numbers, it's not going to be enough just to go after the millionaires. And then Wayne making the point as well, these are small companies that do hire. Are they playing politics with jobs?
It's a very small percentage of businesses, of small businesses that file in that bracket. But look, we have been fed this line for so long that if we keep giving rich people tax breaks, it's going to create all these jobs. We heard that during the Bush administration. And guess what? It didn't pan out. What Harry Reid is talking about here is not covering for the whole deficit through tax increases. He's talking about a balanced approach. Right now, revenue is about 15% of GDP. That is a 60-year low. Even conservative columnists admit that we need to bring in more revenue. We have to look at both sides of the equation. Budget cuts, major spending cuts, disproportionately affect the middle class and the poor, and they have already sacrificed enough.
But go back to the sacrifice. When anyone starts talking about sacrifice, keep in mind someone's collecting that sacrament, right? A society of sacrifice is always built on masters and slaves, and lo and behold, Harry Reid in this case, well, he wants to be that master, and it's an abomination in my opinion. It's directly contrary to the notion of self-interest. In America, you don't have to make yourself a sacrifice. You get to pursue your own life, liberty, and happiness, not be made chattel for the public good.
In addition to it all, you get, you don't have to pay your mortgage these days. We're wiping out your credit card bills as well. Quite frankly, you don't have to pay anything if you're, low or middle class and you're in a lot of trouble these days. And to Wayne's point, you want to share sacrifice? Then that 47% or 45% of Americans that are not paying taxes, they should cough some money up too. It is only fair.
No, you're saying 45% of Americans aren't paying taxes. I mean, but then we keep hearing this line over and over from Washington. Let's go after the top 1%. Aren't they already paying a disproportionate amount of taxes across this country?
Well, we already know that they're paying a disproportionate share. We know that. I mean, as I said, the top 3% of the people in the country pay as much as the other 97%, excuse me. So therefore, and the biggest problem about the hypocrisy of the Congress is, why doesn't the Congress sacrifice something? Why don't they talk about saving money where they could? There's more government money wasted, and that the Congress doesn't go after. I mean, if you look, for example, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are bleeding today approximately $400 million a day. Why does the Congress stop that?
Guess what, you guys? No.
Well, let me finish Wayne's thought quickly, is that Congress got a raise The rest of America did not. President Obama's staff got a raise. Nobody else in America is doing that. Where's the shared sacrifice?
The reason that rich people pay the lion's share of the taxes is because they make the lion's share of the money. Have you all not seen the trends? The only people who are better off in this country are the uber wealthy, the top 0.1%. That's why they pay more taxes.
That is socialism.
John Layfield, though, I want to go back to the original point, though, that a lot of these millionaires, these rich people in their jets, are small businesses.
Yes,
it's not true. That's just not true.
Yes, it's
not true.
It is true. Look, I've dealt with small businesses my entire life. It is true, Krystal. And boil it down. You're talking about these rich people. Go back to the Clinton era level taxes, okay? $50 billion is what you get. You say, well, that doesn't cover quite the whole deficit. It doesn't cover 3% of the deficit. It doesn't cover 10 days. What are you going to do the last 355 days of the year? You have 50% almost that don't pay taxes. They are benefiting from this redistribution of wealth of people. So you can't say, let's expand the corporate base, the taxpayers' base, because you're going to ask people to pay taxes for the first time in their lives.
You know
so
what?
It's
That's
politically
It's not accurate.
So let's go after the rich guys.
That's only if you're talking about income taxes. If you're talking about payroll taxes, that is just not accurate at all.
We're talking about income tax.
It's a slur,
that is a misleading statistic.
No,
yes, it is. Because people pay a huge amount in payroll taxes that you're not taking into account here at all.
But we may have that extension, though. The break on that may actually happen. Jonathan, let me take this back to you. If you look at Harry Reid, he's the one talking about shared sacrifice, right? What about spending cuts? Let's get back to that here. I mean, doesn't it have to be a balance? If you're going to tax folks in the top 1%, over $1 million, whatever, what about Congress pulling back on their spending, which has been, frankly, like drunken sailors for the last 5 years?
Well, Cheryl, the people who should be sacrificing are those who are used to getting the entitlements, who are used to getting the freebies. Those are the ones who should be making a sacrifice. The whole notion, though, I mean, and Krystal, I appreciate your point. It's 3%, it's 1%. The whole notion that people should be sacrificing, it's an ad hominem slur. What's wrong with you? You don't care about the public good. I mean, it's unspeakably evil. It treats people like chattel, just to be used up and spat out for whatever green energy or BS that Harry Reid wants.
But here's what is so unbalanced about this debate. As John was pointing out, we're not talking about huge tax increases. We're talking about closing loopholes. We're talking about including everyone. The Republican side is that we are not. You know what? Hold on. Let me finish. The Republican posture is that we are only going to do spending cuts. That's it. What we're talking about is a balanced approach. We've put Medicare on the table. We've put Social Security on the table. We've put everything on the table, and Republicans are not coming halfway. They're not even coming a quarter of the way.
Krystal, this isn't balanced at all. What this is doing is a failure of leadership by the Congress and the administration. You want to take away the lights being shined really bright on 9.2% unemployment, about no job creation whatsoever, about a debt that is unsustainable. And what you do is you say, hey, let's do a balanced approach.
You know what? The only reason
it doesn't work.
The only reason we're even having this debate right now is because the Republicans have manufactured a debt ceiling crisis that doesn't exist. The real crisis right now is unemployment, and you're absolutely right. That's all we should be talking about.
Wayne, let me give you last word. You say the numbers don't add up. This isn't the right strategy. Last word to you, Wayne. What is?
Well, the right strategy is to go back to some supply-side economics. I mean, first of all, this Keynesian approach of spending and spending and spending and to create jobs has not worked, Mr. President. It has not worked. Go back to the private sector and let the private sector be incentivized to do something, and then that will work. That will create jobs.
You look at the jobs report, that's kind of where it happened. All right, guys, come on.